Away from that, the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAAC, on Friday, shared a total sum of 1.1 trillion naira as Federation accounts revenue for the month of August to the federal, state, and local governments, indicating a 133.99 billion naira rise over the 966.110 billion naira shared in the preceding month of July. And this was contained in a statement from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, citing a communique issued by the FAAC at the end of its September meeting. According to the statement, the 1,100.101 trillion naira total distributable revenue comprised distributable statutory revenue of 357.398 billion naira, distributable value-added tax revenue of 321.941 billion naira, electronic money transfer levy revenue of 14.102 billion naira, exchange difference revenue of about 229.568 billion naira, and augmentation of 177.092 billion naira. I'm being joined live by Dr. Leke Ebenezer. He is an economic analyst. He joins me now to talk about this. Dr. Ebenezer, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, glad to have you join us. My pleasure. Now, the total distributable revenue for August saw a surge, an increase of 133.991 billion naira compared to July. What factors do you believe, are responsible for this significant rise, and what does this indicate about the Nigerian economy?
Okay, thank you very much. In response to your question, two components out of the five components of what was shared was significantly contributed to by increase in VAT and increase in imports, excise duty, electronic money transfer levy, which is EMTL. So those two components brought about the significant increase in what you've seen in the allocation. And, the implication of this on the economy is not far-fetched. As you know, VAT is value-added tax. So what that means invariably is that if what has brought about the increase in what is shared is the VAT, it means that some people are paying for that. And of course, that is, is parallel to the fact that if you look at inflation rates as we speak, and of course, significant rise in transportation costs and in food costs, all of this, are the pressure that the increase in that allocation is a minute of the pressure that people are feeling a significant increase in domestic consumption.
Okay. Now, Dr. Ebenezer, let's take a closer look at the components of all of this breakdown. Now, the breakdown of the revenue, like you rightly mentioned, includes VAT revenue. There is electronic money transfer levy revenue, and also exchange difference revenue. How do you think all of these revenue sources impact, for instance, fiscal stability of both the federal and state governments, and what trends or insights can be derived from these contributions?
Okay, thank you very much. Like I said, five major components of this revenue, which are statutory revenue, the VAT, the electronic transfer, exchange difference, and augmentation. But like I said, two out of these five are significantly increased. And of course, the implication of that on the economy is what I've said. But then, looking at the trend, for me, what is most important, apart from the increase in the revenue, is the sustainability and, of course, accountability. Those two key factors are very, very important because looking at the trend, there has been a kind of back and forth when it comes to revenue generation. But then, how can the government sustain this, and how can the states or even the federal government and the local government be held accountable for what has been distributed. And having said this, it's also important to look at holistic revenue generation measures and, of course, economic diversification. If we are not going to go back to the era of borrowing, and the Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, has said that, look, borrowing is not the way forward. But if that will not happen, revenue generation measures have to be looked at, and economic diversification. Those two things are very important.
Okay. I like the fact that you mentioned beyond increase. It's all about what's much more important is sustainability and as well as accountability. You touched on it, but I'd like you to elaborate a bit more on how this can be sustainable and also be accountable in terms of all of these components. How can Nigeria ensure sustainability and also accountability?
Okay, thank you very much. Now, if you look at all these sources and these components, you will realize that if government is doing what they need to do, they are going to is going to help in the generation of revenue, which is about the sustainability. So the sustainability part has to do with government doing what they have to do to help the economy to increase in its GDP. And if you look at the component of GDP, which is consumption, investment, government expenditure, and net export, the government consumption pattern had to be sustained. And for that to happen, government need to deal with inflation. And I like the fact that the Minister of Finance, was talking about the fact that the supply of money need to really be looked at so that inflation can be significantly reduced. So beyond getting this revenue, beyond allocating it to different tiers of government, what are the respective state local government doing with the money in terms of economic development? Because that's the only thing that can sustain increase in revenue generation. If all these monies are collected and they are just expended on consumables or recurrent expenditure, the sustainability is going to be very difficult. So, and the accountability part, of course, has to do with, fiscal discipline. When money is being earmarked for projects, let's ensure that those things are what the money is used for. Monies are not diverted. Monies are not used for political purposes instead of economic development. So the area of sustainability deals with the fact that more of investment in capital structure, things that will increase the GDP, and the accountability is talking about fiscal discipline.
All right, thank you.